Hi, today I am going to answer a question of why me? And now I know there are so many tormenting questions we have after our child dies, and I want to help you with this one question in particular in this video. And I've had a lot of parents tell me that this is helpful to them, and so I wanted to share it with you. First of all, let me read the email that this comes from. Hi, Laura. I'm struggling with comparing my circumstances to others. Why do they get to keep their child and I didn't? I look at other families with happy, healthy children and my stomach drops. Why me? How do I get over the jealousy, envy, and pain of seeing parents with their children when my only child is gone? And this is from Tori. Now, I have received a lot of emails about questioning the death of their infant or a pregnancy loss, especially in the light of abortions that are going on in other countries. Children are being left by the roadside if they don't want their babies. And when you see those kinds of things and a parent wants a child so badly and then that child is gone in an instant like that, it really causes us to question things, doesn't it? And I also have had an email from someone who works in corrections. And as they're in the correctional facility, they're seeing all these criminals who have done horrible things who are locked up, and yet her son isn't here anymore. And he was a good kid. I say kid because he was in his 20s. I mean, he was a good guy, and yet he didn't live. And you have all these criminals who have done horrible things, and here they are still alive. And we have that question, why, don't we? I think here on this earth, it's awfully hard to get the answers to the whys. I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to why, because I'm not God. And most of the time, we don't get the answers to our whys when we're here on earth. And I think as soon as it's possible, and it's going to be different for each one of us, but it's really helpful to change the question. Instead of asking why all the time, start asking the question how. And what I mean by that is asking God, how am I going to get through this darkness? How am I going to want to live again? How are you going to supposedly turn this into something good in my life? That's impossible. There's absolutely impossible for anything good to come from the death of my child. I know we feel that way, don't we? If that's you, if you feel like maybe I need to start asking how, or maybe this is something that I can't do it yet, but I could see how it would be helpful, scroll down and write in the comments the word how. Write the question how, and maybe write out your how question. How are you going to get me to want to live again? How am I supposed to get past this pain? How am I going to get out of this darkness? How am I going to live without my child? Or just write the word how. But scroll down below and put in that how question, because I think by doing that, it will help your mind to start thinking and moving away from the why to the how. And the reason that is so important to do, like I said, is because the why question, we won't get that answered here. And really, is there a good enough reason? Even if God told us why, it wouldn't be good enough. Just like a teenager wanting the keys to the car, and dad says no, and the teenager says why. Is there an answer good enough for that teenager? That teenager wants to know why so that they can argue why that isn't a good enough answer. And I think that's how we are with our why questions with God. And the whole why me, I heard one parent one time who lost multiple children in a car accident came to the conclusion, why not me? Why do I think that being a Christian makes me exempt from having something like this happen? I've pastors who have lost children. It's like, this isn't supposed to happen to me, God. I'm a pastor. It does. It happens because of the world that we live in. It happens. And our children aren't supposed to go ahead of us. Think about this. The first death in the Bible that is recorded is Adam and Eve lost their son. It's the death of a child. And so the whole why question, we don't get a satisfying answer here on earth. But I think if we ask the how questions, God wants to answer the how question, because he'll start answering it for us. He'll start showing us how he's going to do that. It may take a while before we actually see the results of that, but he is at work behind the scenes. He is at work in the darkness, answering your how question and moving you in the directions that you're asking how. How are you going to do this, God? How am I going to get to this place? I just want to encourage you with that. And I also, let me just say, also, I believe our children know the answer why, and they're okay with it, because God sees the big picture. We want to know why based on our little bitty, our view of this world, this piece of this world that I'm in right now in this event that happened, and I want to know why. And I don't have a mind to see the big picture of eternity, but God does, and our children do too now. Our children see the big picture like God does of the why, and I believe that they're okay with the why because they can see the big picture. They're not caught in this tiny event. And when I say tiny, I mean short. In the span of eternity, what we are going through in the death of our child was a moment when they crossed over. And now we're in the process of learning how to live here without them and learn how to live a life of meaning and purpose again. There's another how. How are you going to help me want to live? How are you going to give me my life meaning and purpose? I believe our kids see the why and they understand and they're okay with it. It makes me think about, there was an email I did receive fairly recently about someone who had this whole thing about when I get to heaven, people are going to have to line up behind me because it's like, God, you've got some explaining to do. I am going to get my answers of why. And someone told them, I don't think that's true. And they're like, what? And they were kind of mad about it. And it was explained to them, I believe that when you are reunited with your child, it's going to be such joy. It's going to be there's going to be so much happiness, so much joy to be reunited with them that the why isn't going to matter anymore. You're going to be so happy to be with them again that the why is just going to be behind us. It's not going to matter because we're together again. It can be really hard to know how to take care of ourselves during this time of grief and pain and questioning, and especially at the beginning of this journey. And sometimes it's like we don't even want to take care of ourselves, but it is important. It is important to take care of yourself in a way that moves you in the direction so that you can get out of this darkness and away from these kinds of tormenting questions. And so if you're interested, on our website, we do have a PDF that you can download. It's 30 ways to give yourself comfort and take care of yourself. So just go to our website, gpshope.org, scroll down to the black section in the middle, and there'll be a place where you can give your email address, and we'd be happy to send that PDF to you of 30 ways to give yourself comfort and help yourself. So with that, if this video was helpful to you, I would appreciate if you would give it a like, thumbs up, then I'll know to keep creating content like this for you. Also be sure to subscribe so that when you get a notice when a new video comes out, and share this. If this has been helpful to you, if the GPS Hope channel is helpful to you, make sure that you share it with other parents who are on this unwanted journey along with us so that they know where they can get hope and help as well. And I'll see you in the next video.